China is doing a lot, all it can, to undermine U.S. brands. And yet another example is the Demko knife. It's a Demko AD 20.5. Now this one's pretty scary because it's kind of hard to tell if you don't know precisely what to look for. And people are bidding hundreds of dollars on eBay on these fakes. And people were just listing them, you know, a $20 knife, a $20 fake knife they got from China, putting it on eBay, and people are getting fooled and bidding up hundreds of dollars on these fake knives. So hopefully this video will help let you know the difference here. So I'm going to keep the fake ones on the right side as much as possible, so just to kind of avoid confusion. And I have both the shark's foot blade and the standard blade on both, but the handles are slightly different, but we'll go over that. The boxes are pretty darn close. One of the things with the fake here on the right is that it doesn't have, the real one has like this little, right here on the edges, has like this little texture or grain on the box. And the fake ones do not have that. But other than that, they look really convincing. The words here on the side, the colors, pretty close. This one has the barcode on it, the real one. This one doesn't. But yeah, it's really hard to tell the box, except for that grain in the background. So should be your first clue. So go ahead and open up the real one. You see it has the blue image there on the inside. It has a little pouch. Really cool looking pouch. And with the fakes, we're talking $20. A $20 knife here, having all this, going through all this trouble to replicate the real packaging. And this was one of the things that makes it really scary, is that they're intending to undermine U.S. brands. There's no other reason for all this packaging copying. Even has this little Velcro patch that it comes with, just like the real one over there. And let's go ahead and open it up so you can see. And at first I thought, you know, maybe they're getting these real, maybe the packaging is real, but it's not. It's completely different. They're just copying it. So let's go ahead and look at the real one here. And I'm going a little bit overboard on the packaging because I think it's a big deal, because if you think the packaging, it gives it an air of legitimacy when it has all this packaging. But this one has like a softer, like, let me kind of zoom in here, because this one has like this softer material here and thicker edges right in here. This one is a little bit less soft. It's still pretty soft, but these edges right here are thinner. I don't know if you can tell. There's a thicker edge here, and then this on the fake one is the thinner edge. So there's slight differences where you can tell this is not actually the same thing. All right, so on the real one, it has this little cleaning cloth, and it says Demko knives. The fake one also has the cleaning cloth. Okay, so this one's more of a bright white, the fake one, and this is more of a little bit of an off-white, it looks like to me. All right, so we'll get that out of the way. All right, so, and this one on the real one has this little thing for moisture. It also has a second pocket clip for the left-handed carry. This one didn't have anything over here, or here, or here. So it doesn't have the pocket clip. The ones that I got. I got two of them. All right, so there's the fake packaging there, and the fake knife. We're going to take out the real knife and the real packaging. Now, the handles are going to be different, okay? So keep that in mind. We can't go 100% on the handles because the ones that I got are intended to be a copy of a little bit higher end one. But the blades there's a lot of ways you can tell on the blades. Okay, so got the fake there. Got to keep them separate. Okay, so this is the one that has, so this is an exclusive I bought that has the, it's like a jade type handle. This is the FRN. This is a metal, like a titanium is what they're saying. So it's hard to really go on that. Now the clips on the real ones are like a satin, and then on the fake ones, they're polished. So yeah, since the handles are different, can't really go too much on that on these two. Now let's look at the blades. Now the blades, let me zoom in once again. Let's start here on the back, on the spine. And you'll notice that the blade, that jimping on the back, those grooves, they're a little bit shallower on the fake. Quite a bit shallower. It's hard to tell in pictures, but if you can actually see it, the comparison here, you'll be able to tell. Also, the thumb hole, the little thumb stud there slightly comes down to a slightly narrower surface on the real one on the left side. But here's one thing that you can look for. A lot of these fakes have it. And right here, it's kind of like they do it on purpose. But there's the real one. It's a darker Demko name. It's a little bit darker. This one's slightly lighter, but it's hard to tell. But you can see where the D is just kind of cut out a little bit right there. I've seen a lot of fakes have that. So if that's one of the things you want to look for, and if that has that, that's a dead giveaway that it's a Chinese copy, $20, $20 knife that you might be overpaying for. And then this grind right here is slightly different. So when we look at that here, it's a little bit steeper grind on the real one. And then just the profile where the blade starts right here, you can see it's kind of, the blade actually sticks out a little bit further from this part. And on this one, it's kind of just more flush. Also, the actual secondary grind where the edge is here, is on the real one is a little bit thicker. And on the fake one, it's a thinner grind. I don't know if you can tell there. It's quite a bit of a difference there, especially down on this side. All right, let's turn it over. Now, the AUS 10A, where they're lying to you there on what kind of steel it is, they're also lying on what country it's made. It's not made in Taiwan. The fake ones are made in China. And the stonewash is slightly different, but it's not enough to really tell in pictures. So that's something to consider. So yeah, we can't really go too much on the handles because the handles are intended to be different. I mean, the fakes on this particular copy that I have, it's intended to replicate the one with the titanium handle. So I can't really go on that. Now the pocket clip, in addition to just the polished versus the satin, let's see if we can get a profile look here. The shape is a little bit slightly different there. You can see that the pocket clip, which is kind of hard to tell in pictures, like if you're trying to look for one online and you see the pictures there, it's going to be hard to tell that profile, but it's slightly different. And also the edge is a little bit rougher, the edge of this pocket clip. So this metal is stamped out and then formed into the pocket clip. And right here on the edge, you can tell it's kind of rough. It hasn't been smoothed out to the degree that the real one has. So the real one is smooth right here. And that's another thing that, is really going to be hard to tell in pictures. But there's a couple things that you can tell. The edge, the grinds of the blade, and the Demko name being cut out on the D. It seems like that's like a normal thing on all these fakes. And these jimping being just a little bit shallower there on the back. All right, so that's that drop point blade. Now let's go to the, these have, the fakes have bearings in them just like the real ones. They're smooth and the lockup isn't as good, but it still does a pretty decent job. Now let's go to the shark foot blade. And that is out of these, I like this style of blade. So this one is one I changed the grip on. This one has the FRN, just the plastic handle. I just changed it to white. It originally had the jade. And then this is supposed to be a G10 handle, this blue one. So let me zoom in again. So the fake one is the blue one. And I don't know if you can tell that the actual blade, there's a lot of grind marks on the blade on this particular copy. It's just on one side, not on the other. So on the fakes, they're probably not always going to have that. But let's just kind of look at this handle a little bit. Since this knife is closer to the original, it has, once again, the edge on the pocket clip is not smooth. The pocket clip is shiny instead of the satin. But the telltale signs are going to be on the blade. So let's look at the blade. So the fake one's on the right. And then you can see, hopefully, that the Demko on this fake here on the right side, the little D part is cut out. So that's something that apparently a lot of fakes have, and you can see on the real one doesn't have that. Also, the Demko name is darker; it's more black than on the right side. The fake one's a little bit more like a real dark brown, is what it looks like. And then the grinds, the fake one is a little bit further back on this shark's foot one, so you can see this one is behind. That has a little bump that sticks out. It's still behind that. This one's just a little bit further, and it's much thinner. The grind is much thinner. The secondary grind right here, this thicker on the real one, and then thinner on the fake one. The jimping on the back, those little cuts are shallower once again than the real one, shallower on the back of the blade, and that's something you might be able to tell from pictures. I look at this side, and once again it says AUS 10A Taiwan. It's made in China, so they're lying. Who knows what the metal is that it's supposed to be anyways. Cheapest they can find, I'm assuming, for $20. They spent a lot of money on the packaging making it. There's that. And let's look at the back here. The profile of the tip is definitely more legit looking than the fake. So it'll probably hold up better, especially since you know what kind of steel it is. Another thing I forgot to mention on the other one, which is the same thing on this, is they even put the patent number in there on the shark lock. So you can't really go on that. It just gives it another level of appearance of legitimacy when they do that. So the intention is to deceive. So keep that in mind. Just because it has these features and the packaging and all this stuff, when it's replicated, I mean, really good. I mean, they did a really good job of coming up with a convincing product to fool people, and apparently people are being fooled. So keep this in mind, that there's some scoundrels, thieves, people that are trying to deceive you and rip you off. They're taking and buying Chinese knives that are $20, in which that's the intention of the Chinese to do this, is to flood the markets with U.S. brands that are basically fake, copy, cheap, cheap knockoffs, basically, and flood the market. So that way it undermines the brand as far as the resale value of a used one, or the collectability of one of these knives. It just really does a number on the market when you flood the market with these type of things. People can buy one on eBay or whatever, and they can think they have the real one for a long time and just think, oh, that's just the way it is. And they will never buy the real one. So it undermines the real brand is losing out on people thinking that they have the real one already when they actually bought the $20 fake one. So anyways, there's the real one there, the fake one. I'll go ahead and line them up here so you can see. Let me zoom out. There we go. So yeah, the fake ones are on the on the right there, and the real ones are on the left. And the packaging, packaging is convincing, and everything. So that's why I say it's pretty scary that they're going to this much length. And I wonder how much the Chinese government is subsidizing this, because to have something shipped from China is subsidized. Any export to the United States, the shipping is subsidized by China. But as far as like all this packaging and everything, it just seems like they're going the extra mile to try to come up with these and flood the markets with them, because they're just too well done as far as copying it. The product themselves, I mean, if they were just to make knives that don't have the branding on them and make them slightly different, so they're not, just completely knocking them off, they would be a better business model, So going through this trouble to copy, tells me that there's another motive besides just making money, because they can make really good quality knives and then just sell them legitimately instead of, ripping off and trying to undermine other brands in this way. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully this video will help you not just to avoid getting ripped off, for one thing, but also just knowing that the fact that there is Chinese clone copies. These are not really clones. These are this is counterfeits, and they're on the market. They're everywhere. I just looking at different websites like eBay, they're just probably more than half of the ones that I've seen on there are the clones. I keep saying clones. These are the counterfeits. The clones I use in a different context. The clones are like knives that are not trying to counterfeit. They're just made. They're using some of the basically the same similar styles to make another knife with a different brand. But these are actually counterfeits with the intention to counterfeit and the intention to fool and deceive. That's what the intention is, obviously. So anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully this has helped anything. And I have other videos of like Cold Steel, Spyderco, Benchmade, clones versus the real ones. And so hopefully I could do more of this, because I think it's a big deal. And it's not just knives, it's throughout different industries. There's many ways in which the Chinese can undermine U.S. brands. They'll do it. So just keep that in mind. If it's something that can be made in China and they can do it in a way that undermines U.S. brands, then it seems like they'll do it. So anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.